informal session devoted to the memory of Giorgio Quazza. Giorgio Quazza, as everyone knows, passed away 25 years ago in the August of 78. So this symposium comes by chance, exactly a quarter of a century after his death. So we thought that it was a good occasion to prepare the memorial of Giorgio at such a distance.
Family members and all others who have heard about Giorgio, but maybe did not have the good fortune that I had, some of us here, to get to know him closely as a humanist, friend, co-worker, possibly leader in the case of NL, and in my case a mentor as well as a colleague. It is strange to say that sometimes an international organization brings you in contact with a person that you will remember for the rest of your life and who will influence your life, both professionally and in many other ways. This happened to me in the career as an IFAC official. I was chair of the theory committee in the early 70s, while Giorgio was the chair of the applications committee. So we were supposed to be in some kind of competition, because these two committees always competed with the number of papers to be accepted and so on. But what happened is, the moment we met, we started discussing some issues. He said, "What are you doing this afternoon when the committee is over? Let's go for a walk." And an endless, almost, number of occasions then occurred, very frequent occasions where Giorgio and I would escape, sometimes even from a session, or sometimes short a committee meeting, make a committee meeting shorter, to go. I would remember in Helsinki, not Helsinki, but in Finland, being in the lake after Salina, you can see here in Valgardena, hiking together. So a number of occasions, during which sometimes we even would reserve the same room to be able to talk long nights. What emerged to me was an astounding multidimensional personality that I have only read about in big novels and good books from Tolstoy and Balzac and Stendhal, or whatever your best writer you can imagine. There, this person was alive, talking to me about just about any subject, and very often not being sure whether he is talking in his fluent English or fluent French, and if some German would pass by, there would be a German sentence exchange. It was one of the talents, and I have met in my career a number of talents, but I have never met a talent so hidden. You had to dig to get all the riches of that character. He primarily was a humanist soul, and humanist in the best tradition of that term. And I got to know this only after some years of close conversations and exchange of ideas about all other subjects, not our technical subjects, from religion to philosophy to literature. He was widely educated, well-read, but always this would come upon your insisting to know more about him. His commitment to the resistance, which I insisted to know more about, came as a humanist cause. A little young teenager in his 19 or 20 years of age joins the resistance. They were caught, 5 of them from what I recall from his stories. They were taken in the train cars, and those were prisoners, from Milano up north to Mauthausen. They knew that things were not going well. Planned, after about 3 nights of running the train, according to Giorgio, may have been 2 nights, they jumped out. They were able to somehow unlock the door. The story is quite long and dramatic. They jumped out, and unfortunately jumped out just to the German guards. Several were killed. Giorgio survived and was taken to the camp, as I recall, where the conditions were absolutely unbearable, as you can imagine. His conditions were even more unbearable because he had to sleep in between 2 countrymen of yours. They come from former Yugoslavia. There were 2 victims, prisoners in Mauthausen. They were fighting over Giorgio's body, and he was trying to keep peace among them. Giorgio has been able to keep peace and inspiration among all of us, and that inspiration was always, even in a 5-minute talk visible. You would go away from a conversation with Giorgio inspired to do something. He suggested after our discussions that large-scale systems should be the next venture in control, so he was in many ways behind connecting more power system people and control people, starting or giving the ideas for starting symposia. He brought me in contact with NL Center and dear friend Fabio. We actually are so influenced by some of the work that was done in NL Center that we wrote a separate proposal to the US Department of Energy, and that evolved, and I'm to this day tragically sorry that Giorgio could not see the final results of that work, but he saw intermediate results at our meetings. He was in a sense everywhere and yet hard to notice. You would be in a committee meeting, he would be quiet, but when he took the word, you would know that somebody with authority, full knowledge, and the best constructive intentions was speaking. I would repeat that you have that feeling when somebody is there, a very ordinary person, and you eventually get the feeling that there is something very extraordinary about this man. I was seeking every opportunity to go to a meeting, very often not being interested in the meeting, just to have an opportunity to meet Giorgio. It was really a precious feeling. Every moment spent with Giorgio was in some sense enriching me, and I remember him. I was very enthusiastic when I received the message or invitation from Sergio to come here to say a few words about his gifted, modest, inspiring humanist and an engineer. There was a combination that we will seldom be able to find in the future and that I have not seen except in Giorgio's case. We had lost 25 years ago a person who survived a concentration camp, who constructively led many young researchers and his colleagues, and then in the beloved mountains where he was trying to tell me to come next year and the year after to do some of these things. I was not strong enough to follow him on these climbs, but I would at least go pathways and enjoy the views and enjoy his, look at his smile full of joy. He, on this particular occasion, says, no, I'm not ready for the big hike yet. I cannot make 600 vertical meters in 1 hour. I count. I think that was the task he would put, and when he would do this, he would then go to such adventures that, remember, Julia, we were there on that hike. He says, I'm not ready yet. I will be ready. Unfortunately, he was very well ready when the crevasse occurred and took it from us. I would like to thank the family, our dear Mrs. Quazza and the 2 daughters whose bedroom I reserved at a number of occasions. They were so hospitable to lend me their bedroom that I will remember. Also the family atmosphere of the Quazza family. Whenever we have these memorials, we say there is a perfect man and so on, but I would like to say about Giorgio that if there was a person that would come close to that ideal of mine in any case, it was Giorgio. So it is a great pleasure, and with sadness, of course, that I remember him and would like him to talk about him to younger people, to have them continue Giorgio's legacy here in Italy and elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Not only was Giorgio Quazza a distinguished engineer and personality, but also he served IFAC, the International Federation of Automatic Control, in a distinguished manner. For this reason, following this untimely death 25 years ago, IFAC established an award in his name in the form of a medal to recognize the contributions of Giorgio Quazza to IFAC, the control engineering community. Let me quote from the IFAC documents about this award. Giorgio Quazza Medal is an IFAC award to a distinguished control engineer presented at each IFAC World Congress as a memorial to the late Giorgio Quazza, a leading Italian electrical and chemical engineer who served IFEC in many capacities in a most distinguished manner. The medal is awarded by the IFEC Council, which is the supreme IFEC body. Of course, there is a selection committee which reviews all the proposals, and believe me, there are many proposals each time. Of course, a monetary prize is presented to the recipient together with the medal. Now, I'd like to ask a representative of the Quazza family, Giorgio Quazza, and I'd like to present you a summary of this in such modern piece. It's a great pleasure. I had no chance to meet Giorgio Quazza in these days, so I'm pleased to meet you today. Thank you very much.